JB Friday. I'm Extension Forester with the University of Hawaii Cooperative Extension. Today we're at Pu'u Wa'awa'a in a dry ohia forest, and I'm here today with Elliot Parsons, who is the manager of Pu'u Wa'awa'a. So can you tell us actually what your actual job title is?
Sure. My name is Elliot Parsons. Thanks for the introduction, and I'm the Pu'u Wa'awa'a coordinator for forestry and wildlife, and working here in the dry forest to help conserve our cultural and natural resources.
So tell us something about the forest, like what the environment is of this forest.
So right now we're at about an elevation of 2,500 feet, and we're in a forest that the lava flows are about 1,500 to 3,000 years old. It's a dry ecosystem, so we get a little less than 30 inches of rain a year, and we have a nice diversity and abundance of native forest trees here.
What are the main things you're doing to manage this forest here at Pu'u Wa'awa'a?
So this forest in particular, there are a number of threats. The biggest one is wildfire. We do have wildfires every year that sometimes burn hundreds to thousands of acres. And they have a big detrimental impact on the native trees, a lot of which are not adapted to wildfire. So we do vegetation and weed management, we maintain roads and fire fuel breaks, and we also try to reduce the biomass of this invasive grass that you see around us, fountain grass. One of the ways we do that is with targeted cattle grazing in certain areas. And if we can reduce the biomass of these flammable grasses, then we can hopefully lower the chances of a catastrophic fire from happening.
How about hunting? Can you say something about the hunting program here?
Sure, yeah, this area is open occasional weekends and state holidays for designated times for hunting state game mammals and state birds. We do have feral sheep, feral goats, and feral pigs here. And hunting is in different areas according to different management needs for reducing populations. We also have public hiking trails. We're a short distance from the Ohia and Cone Trail, which is a state Na'alehele trail, where we have hikers, bird watchers, mountain bikers. A large diversity of people come here to enjoy this amazing place.
Here at Pu'u Wa'awa'a in the dry forest is one of the few places on Hawaii Island where we haven't seen rapid ohia death. The reason we believe is that the fungus that causes rapid ohia death infects wounds and injuries. So things like animals stripping the bark, branches breaking, people walking on the roots can open up injuries, and then the fungus gets into them. What we think is happening here in the dry forest, though, is that these injuries dry out really quickly before the fungus can infect them. So for whatever the reason, even though we know the pathogen is around, it's not causing disease here in Pu'u Wa'awa'a, unlike other forests that are wetter across the island where we see a lot of disease. This variety is Incana. You can tell it's Incana because the leaves are fuzzy. On the underside is a fuzzy gray surface, and the leaves are flat. There's no rolled edge. That would be polymorpha. So this is Metrosideros polymorpha variety Incana. It has sometimes yellow flowers, sometimes red flowers, and it's the common variety that one sees here on the lava lands.
So we're looking at the Ohe Makai, which is a really special dryland forest plant here on Hawaii Island. The Ohe Makai is one of the few species in the dry forest that loses its leaves during the dry part of the year. And it produces these amazing berries when it's fruiting. This species is in the ginseng family, and it's one of the rare trees at Pu'u Wa'awa'a. A lot of the dry forest trees have disappeared due to a variety of threats such as wildfire, invasive species, and introduced pests. And this is one of the ones that we're collecting fruits from and propagating and planting in our different fenced units across the reserve.
So Elliot, what's the fence here for?
So the fence is to protect this native tree against the damaging impacts that might happen with a feral goat or feral sheep. And what they can do is they can trample the roots, they can bark strip, which can girdle the tree and kill the tree. And so this fence prevents them from getting inside and damaging the tree.
Do you see some trees are more susceptible than others to bark stripping?
Yes, there's a wide variety of effects of these animals on the trees. They prefer some trees over others. And some trees, if you don't fence them, eventually they will be killed. This is the Kolea. It's a dry forest tree that's fairly common here on the dry side of the island. There is a wet forest species that's common on the wet side of the island as well. I'm going to be picking fruits from this tree so that we can propagate it at the State Tree Nursery in Kamuela, so we can plant this species inside some of our conservation areas. I'm standing here right in front of a native Hawaiian sandalwood tree, or iliahi, in the dry forests of Pu'u Wa'awa'a. And there's 6 species across the Hawaiian Islands. This is the most common mountain form. This species is hemiparasitic, means that it gets some water and nutrients from other plants that it taps into around it. And here at Pu'u Wa'awa'a, this one is just starting to flower. So there are quite a few honeybees that are out and about on the flowers of this one. People think that Hawaiian sandalwoods or iliahi are rare. And we don't have that many big trees because a lot of them were harvested during the sandalwood trade in the 1800s. But we do have a scattering of trees here at Pu'u Wa'awa'a, especially in the Mauka areas. In upper elevations, we do have a few large trees that are left. I have a llama tree right behind me. The regional name for this is a llama, and the llama tree is a very important cultural species. This species is considered important for Laka, the goddess of hula, and a block of wood of the llama or a llama is often placed on the altar or the kuahu of a hula halau. Llama means light and represents enlightenment. This tree is also in the persimmon family, and you can see the fruits here. The ripe ones are red, and they're edible to people. They have 1 to 2 seeds usually inside, and this was a staple plant during the early ranching times of the Paniolo, the Hawaiian cowboys, as a food source that cowboys would come along to in the forest when they were hungry and be able to have a snack of the ripe llama fruits. Another thing to mention about the llama is its ecology and distribution. So this species is the dominant species found in lava flows that are between 3,000 and 5,000 years old here in the lowland dry forest of Pu'u Wa'awa'a. There is scattered ohia, but it is not as common as the llama. The ohia forests are much more extensive in younger substrates, younger lava flows, and are more dominant between about 1,500, 3,000 year old lava flows. I'd like to introduce you to a really special and important dryland forest tree. This is Uhuhi. And Uhuhi, it's a really hard, dense, heavy wood. And it was made traditionally into hard items like o'o bars or spears or daggers. So it's got really strong cultural importance. This species is also rare, so this is one of our plant extinction prevention or PEP plants. There's actually less than 50 wild individuals left on Hawaii Island. And this one here is a tree that we planted. It's probably about 8 or 9 years old. And you can see the seed pods on this tree. If you shake them, you can hear them rattle, so you know that's when the seeds are ready to pick for propagation. This species is one of our 18 or so rare plants that we're doing management work with here, trying to increase the population abundance. And in terms of threats, besides feral goats and sheep, rats actually predate the seed pods. And I visited one of these trees a few years ago that had hundreds of these seed pods on it. Every single one of them was chewed open and eaten by a rat. So there are a lot of threats to the species, and we're doing our best to try to bring these populations back up.
This is Jalapepe, another plant of the dry ohia forest. Jalapepe used to be a lot more common here, and it has this cascade of yellow flowers that comes out when it blooms. One of the kumu from this area, Hannah Springer, tells that when she was a girl, people came to visit up here, they would make them lei the Jalapepe. And so when they returned home, they'd know they had been to Maukokona in these areas. And when the plant became endangered, that tradition kind of died. So here at Pu'u Wa'awa'a, we're restoring Jalapepe and the endangered plants here We're also helping to do it to restore parts of Hawaiian culture so that they don't disappear.